So, how do you actually make the transition from a full time office job to full time freelancing? Well, I'm going to tell you my story today, and maybe it will inspire you a bit. So, I spent about 15 years working in the professional communication space. And as time went on, I recognized that I was developing very unique skills in both writing and social media that were wanted. So, for example, I was constantly getting job offers. Like, I never really had to look for a job because I had gained this reputation within my freelance space, not my freelance space, but my professional space, as someone who could do certain and specific things. And so when it came time to look for a new job, when I was ready for that, I had multiple options. And never had to struggle. And people would tell me, you should go freelance. And I had a couple of friends that did it, but I was so scared. I was scared of losing the security. I was scared of not being able to do it. I was scared of having to keep up the hustle with the clients. And so I put it off and put it off, and I remained unhappy and unhappy. And I was never 100% sure why it was that I was so unhappy working at one regular full time job. But as it happens, I was laid off in 2019 and decided to kind of just take things slow. I had little kids, and I was like, I'm just going to kind of do the stay-at-home mom thing and maybe pick up a little bit of a side hustle. So I had this one side hustle that I kept while I was staying home with my kids, but I really enjoyed it. And so I decided to just dip my toe in the water of more freelancing. So I kind of mentioned it to some people I knew. I began networking, letting people know, hey, I am actually freelancing now and I'm available for some of this work. And before I knew it, I was getting requests from people. And the thing was, rather than having to make this massive decision on whether or not to take a full time job, which is a huge decision in terms of your lifestyle and what you're doing, because once you take that full time job, basically your work time is their time. And I think that's one of the things that I really hated about having this full-time job. So I slowly began to take in more clients and got some more childcare. And as I did that, I recognized one of the things that I really disliked about that 9 to 5 job situation was I had to stay focused on one thing all the time. I had to stay focused on the one company or the one business or whatever. And I actually love doing different projects. I am sort of ADHD, and I do take ADHD medication, so I'm not just saying that. But I recognize that freelancing for me was life-giving because I could go from project to project. I could use my creative mind to do different things, and I could work for different places and help them where they were at that particular moment. And if something wasn't working out, I could just move on. Rather than when you're working at a full-time job and it's not working out, it's like a huge deal to quit. And so I always ended up staying at jobs that I no longer wanted to be at because I had to find another full-time job and wonder if that was going to be the right decision. With freelancing, you don't have to live under that kind of pressure. You can just go, this isn't working out, I'm going to move on and I'm going to find a new client. And so the rules are completely changed. And not only that, you get to make your own schedule, you get to take days off when you want, you don't have to ask for permission. And so for me, it wasn't an instantaneous jump from there to there. I had the luxury of not needing to have a full-time income for a few months because my husband's job does offer us health insurance, and so I understand that is a huge privilege. But it was a slow walk for me over to full-time freelancing, and I can only say that I wish I had done it earlier. I was too scared, but I also didn't have anyone there to guide me, and so I wanted to be sort of that guide for other people. So if you're over there thinking you want to start moving into freelancing, whether that's just picking up a side hustle or you're thinking, okay, I want to do this full time. I have a couple of clients. I'm not really sure how to make the full transition. That's why I'm here. I want to hold your hand, answer your questions. And so that's what I'm doing in my signature course, Bragworthy Bylines Get Paid and Published in 6 Weeks, which is not just about getting bylines, but also about picking up full-time freelance work, maintaining clients, and keeping a consistent income. Now, I went from, in 2018, sort of making side hustle money around $20,000 to my most recent year in revenue was over $150,000. And every year I have gotten more and more and more because every year I learn more. But it doesn't have to take you as long as me. So Check out the caption for where you can get a free download, check out my free webinar, and then if you're interested, you can sign up for my signature course where we go deep dive into all of this stuff and you can be well on your way to being a full-time freelancer, eventually a six-figure freelancer. And I'm telling you, the money that you pay for a little bit of coaching is going to come back to you in spades. So shoot me a DM on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you, and hopefully that was helpful.